What's up, everybody? Welcome into a new episode of the Rapala We Are Collegiate Bass Podcast. We moved over into 2026. We're excited for this spring season on the Bass Pro Shops Collegiate Bass Fishing Series. These college anglers getting ready to hit the road and get into some tournaments across some other trails. So going into this new year, our first guest here on today's show will be Jackson Roumbanis from Murray State College in Oklahoma. They are tied for 15th in the Bass Pro Shops School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia. If that last name sounds familiar, it is because his father fishes as a professional angler and has been around for a long time. Fishing runs in the family. We're going to get a little bit of his story today for Jackson on how he's gotten to where he's at right now and what he wants to achieve later on into his career. Jackson, first things first, before we get into how you got into fishing, just real quick, give me a pulse. You're halfway through your first full season and year in college and college fishing. How's it gone so far to this point?
Man, first things first, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to be on this podcast. Man, college fishing has been amazing so far. Maybe not the best. Maybe I haven't done the best that I've wanted to, tournament-wise. But it's been fun. I've learned a lot. I've been pushed into some harder competition that I didn't have in college and some of my local derbs. Now I'm being able to fish against larger crowds of anglers. But, these are some of the best anglers in the country. They're going to college, and it really takes a lot of skill to win one of these tournaments and to do good in one of these tournaments. So I've been truly blessed to be able to go to Murray State College here in Tishomingo, Oklahoma. Man, it's been truly amazing.
We'll start with kind of your origin story on how you got involved in fishing. Obviously, your dad, as we mentioned, Fred Roumbanis, been on the major professional circuits for a really long time. I've been able to have the opportunity to meet him at ICAST over the years. Talk a little bit about his influence on you and just kind of how you got introduced into fishing. And kind of in this answer, we'll kind of cover that time frame from, when you can consciously remember being able to go out and fish through high school. Just talk about who introduced you to the sport, how you got involved in it, and got into competitive fishing that brought you to this moment right now before you started college.
Yeah, all I can say is I had one of the best teachers I could have ever asked for. My dad, he started fishing the elites back in 2006 when they first started, won the American in 2007. And, I grew up in the sport. We grew up on the road. I think by the time I hit 3 years old, I think I've already been to 30 states that he had went traveling to tournament fish. So it had been truly amazing. And I really got to learn a lot of information from a young kid. I didn't necessarily play other sports, football, basketball. I played some baseball and soccer when we were home, but I spent most of my time on the water, learning from him. And from an early age, all that information got so deeply embedded in my brain, I was able to learn off it and grow. So whenever I got into being older, about 12, 13 years old, that's when I really started fishing. I think we had a John boat. We had a couple ponds behind the house in Arkansas. I'd go take it out there. We had a little lake my dad would go drop me off at. And I really got to learn, okay, I know this is how they catch fish. Now I want to see how I can improve on that skill and see how I can pick apart a lake. And I feel like that was some of the best guidance I could have ever had in my life, from learning these things from my dad and being able to expand on them on my own. High school was pretty fun. I was kind of off and on while I was doing the high school fishing. I think sophomore year was probably the year I was most involved in it, sophomore and junior. And I think we fished about 15 tournaments that year. We had an amazing season. Me and my partner, Jaden Spencer, he fished with Casaba Valley last year. And I think we ended up winning like six high school tournaments out of the 15. It was a truly amazing season. Mostly local high school, and we fished a couple of bigger state tournaments and stuff like that. I believe we won that year too. And then moving on to like junior year and senior year, I started fishing bigger events, BFLs, Toyota Series, but I still fished the high school tournaments when I could. So I fished the state championship both years. My junior year, I got second place on Lake Darnell. It was kind of a bittersweet tournament. Ended up getting second place on a tiebreaker of order of entry. But then the next year, we followed it up by going to Lake Hamilton in Arkansas and winning the Arkansas State Championship finally. I think we ended up having about a 3.5-pound lead on that one. Got to go to the World Championship for high school fishing. That was one of the coolest things, going up to Grand Lake. And day one, we're sitting in second place, and then the national and third place in the world side. And our lead, we kind of kept around the same weight most of the days. The final day, it kind of dropped off as most weights did. But having a fourth place nationally, and then I think we had like a 20th place in the world championship, was truly amazing. That's when I knew I want to continue to do this throughout college. I want to fish against these same kids. I want to grow. I want to learn more. And being able to go to all these tournaments with little to no risk, especially at Murray State, where we have an amazing program where our coach gets to travel with us. And the school helps provide a lot of the necessary things that we need as housing, lodging, gas, and travel. So it's been truly amazing to be able to learn and pick apart these lakes, maybe without, being with my dad, kind of growing off of what his knowledge is and being able to learn on my own. So I've been truly blessed.
We're going to talk a little bit more here coming up about different events you fished so far, some cool opportunities that you've been afforded in just the first couple months of being involved with college fishing. 2 of those events this fall, which you've competed in, Bass Pro Shops Big Bass Bash presented by Berkeley and the AFCO Collegiate Bass Open, 2 ACA tournaments here on the Bass Pro Shops Collegiate Bass Fishing Series. This fall so far, as you mentioned, maybe not the finishes that you would like, but you've been able to earn some very valuable experiences and gain some knowledge on those fisheries. Expand on that a little bit, what you learned, maybe one or obviously Lake Darnell there in your backyard where you grew up at home. So not a new lake to you or new experience. Maybe Kentucky Lake was. Talk a little bit about some new things you've ran into, encountered. It could be on the water. It could be on the road, being away from home. Just expand a little on what you've been able to gain in terms of knowledge and experience here this fall semester so far.
Yeah, no, that's been truly amazing. The Big Bass Bash was the first tournament I've ever fished with that big format. We fished a couple Big Bass tournaments back on Darnell, while I was growing up. But being able to fish on a college, collegiate level tournament with 300 boats out there and being able to pick out the biggest bass per hour was truly amazing. I found a lot of fish, but I kind of got stuck in practice. We had found the fish for a 5-fish bag. We found, 15 to 20 pounds. But we weren't finding a kicker. We weren't finding many of the 4 1/4s, 4 1/2s to 5 pounders. And I don't think we ever saw one, on any of our spots that were over 6. But it was really cool being able to pick apart. I got to throw a big bait a lot that tournament. Then it worked out. I had a couple key bites, but, it was fun. It was stress-free. It was a fun tournament. I got to go in. I weighed in I believe it was just under 3 pound smallmouth on the first day. I caught my second cast in the morning. And, after I caught that one, I'm like, all right, well, we don't need the fish to catch 15 pounds. We need to go find the fish to catch 20, or we need to go find that one fish that's going to be the kicker for this whole tournament. So we had a blast. I got to fish with Carson, who's my partner here at Murray State, and another kid named Hal. And having 3 kids in the boat, it was honestly a blast. We were bumping up the turtle box in practice. I mean, we just had a fantastic tournament that it may not have been the best finish, but it was a great memory, and I'll hold that forever.
We'll go from kind of a fun memory to something that's probably more of a learning experience, but we were able to get in the boat with you. We just published an episode on Outdoor Action TV and the ACA YouTube channel from day one of the AFCO Collegiate Bass Open. Y'all can get over there and watch that. It'll be airing on networks too. Keep an eye out for your local listings. But we were in the boat with you on day one. Maybe not the event that you wanted. Finished around 100th in the top third or so of the 280 boat field. Lake Darnell, for those that have probably drawn from the conversation so far, you're from Arkansas. It's real close to home, probably somewhere that you would consider home water. Talk a little bit about that experience and something you might have learned. It's probably easy to expand upon the fact that, let's be honest, going into a tournament on your home lake, 100th, maybe not what you wanted to achieve, but there's some positives that you can pull away from it. Speak to those.
No, we came into Lake Darnell, and I had one goal in mind, and that was to win, of course. But I live 5 minutes from the boat rip. I'm out there usually about 4 days a week, and I had some amazing spots that time of year. September is usually my time to fish, and going into October, and I had plenty of giant fish that were up in the mats, up in some thick grass, that I was just waiting for a big event to come by that I could actually pick them off. Day one of the tournament comes around, and actually I'll start with practice. Practice comes around, and we had probably 18 pounds or so, which was nothing crazy on that lake the time of year we were there in practice. Now, once you get boat pressure out there, weights decline pretty quickly. But we had probably about 18 pounds one day in practice, and then the next day we could add probably around 25 to 27. And that's me punching, taking a big weight and a frog and sitting in the grass mat. It's probably about the size of the front deck of the boat and just waiting for those giant fish to move in. And it was truly amazing. I mean, we had so much confidence going in there that I think it really did hurt us. I think since I had the confidence, I knew where the fish were, I didn't end up fishing the moment like I should have. I should have been able to run around the lake, maybe pick off a couple more fish, maybe change that 100th place into about a 30th or 40th place finish. But it is what it is. It was a great learning curve. Day one came around. I ran up lake started on my grass mat, third cast in the morning, the 5-pounder. I was like, sweet, all right, that's one of the fish we need today. About 10 minutes later, I'll lose a 5-pounder on a frog. Not, just something that happens when you're fishing 2-inch thick mats. We end up fishing around a couple pockets, and I get up into a pond that's up there, up around Spadra, and we're getting in the pond, and one of my first flips in that pond, it was an easy 6-pounder, smokes my bait, bends my flipping hook out. That was definitely a bittersweet moment, and it really hurt. I was like, oh, that's okay. So that was kind of my late day pivotal of, okay, I need to get out. I need to let these fish regroup. Let me go back down lake and see if I can't wrap up around 16 to 18 pounds. And then we can come back up here tomorrow and see if we can't smash a couple of the giants I knew were living in there. So we run back down lake, go into Piney, and the camera's in the boat. And we run up into a little cove back there that I love. And right off the bat, catch a 3-pounder on a swim bait. It was one of those. So now we had 3 fish for around 10 pounds. I'm like, okay, that's good. It's a starting place. We go back up in there a little bit more. I have a 5-pounder smash my swim bait. And I have to make another cast back in there. And as I'm making that cast back in, my rod breaks. And I think that was one of the videos I saw ACA posted. It's pretty funny, but it was more bitter than anything because I knew for myself that if I could have got that cast back in that spot, I probably would have had another 5-pounder in the boat. But it is what it is. That fish just wasn't meant to be. But we scratched that spot. We ran up to another rock pile, caught a 1.5 pound spotted bass. I think we ended up with like 11 something that day. Came in for 4 fish, and that was the second tournament I've ever fished out there where I've not had a limit. And they've both been last year, one in the BFL and one in that Collegiate ACA Lake Darnell event. But it was all right because I knew the next day if we could drop 20 pounds, we'd still be way up there. Run back up to my grass mat, start up in there. I'm throwing a frog, and we joke around and you say if you see double wide like waves on the surface, it's a 6+ pound fish. And I'm looking up in these grass mats, and the water is so clear. All of a sudden, I see a big dot, almost looking like a carp moving up there. And deep down, I knew it was a bass. And I throw my frog over there. He swirls up to it, keeps going. Partner throws his frog up there. Easy 7 to 8 pounder. The biggest fish I've ever seen in my life in that lake came up. And, of course, it was just one of those things. He didn't get the frog good. He got stuck up in the mat as he ate it. But it was super cool to know, okay, if we could have got that fish in, we really would have had a chance to win this tournament, having such a big deficit from day one. So we just had a lot of bad luck that event. It was a learning curve. It was something that home lake, disadvantage, as I like to say it. It's kind of a home lake curse. You get out there, so much about the lake that you don't fish the moments. The fish don't live in one spot year round, and most people that live on the lake, they know that. But whenever you know what kind of fish live in an area, you want to stay there. In river fisheries, it just doesn't work out. Those fish are going to move by the moment. They're following bait. They're following the conditions. And I think next year in this tournament, I'm looking forward to it because I'm definitely going to have a different changing game plan.
The next tournament on the schedule that you guys went over and fished was just immediately following Lake Dardanelle. There you went over to, I believe it was Grand Lake for the Junior College National Championship. Talk a little bit about being able to fish in an event of that prestige for a segment of schools to be able to compete for a national championship amongst schools in similar classification. Kind of talk a little bit about that and to be able to go over to Grand Lake and also talk about how you finished and just the overall experience of that tournament.
Yeah, Grand Lake, it's kind of funny because it's another lake I consider my home lake because it's about 2 hours from the house there at Dard. And I go up to Grand and practice and swing around my first couple spots, and we're looking at about 18 pounds right off the bat. And I'm like, well, it's fishing just about the same as fishing during the national championship for high school. And I go around a couple more spots, a lot more 2 and 3 pounders. I'm not sure what happened, but tournament day, that entire lake changed. Everybody was talking about having 18 to 20 pounds. As soon as the tournament came around, weights dropped incredibly low. I run to my first spot that's usually an easy 13 to 14 pound limit there, and I'm stuck at 7 pound limit right off the bat. And I'm like, well, that's weird. The fish are half the size that they normally are. But hey, maybe it just means some of my other spots, you got to run and gun, run it to another spot. And I see a lot of boats running around, and it's not usually something you see at Grand Lake. There's a bunch of the other college boats running around. At Grand Lake, if you get on a brush pile, if you get on a point, you're usually sitting there, usually waiting for those fish to move through. And I knew something was wrong. I knew the conditions. We had a cold front kind of come through that day, And we were like, okay, we got to fish the moment. We ended up culling up a few more times. I think we ended up having around 10 something, and we're sitting decent. I think we're sitting like 15th place out of the, in the JUCO National Championship, which for that lake, 10 pounds should never be 15th place, but that's just how tough it was fishing. Day 2, we went out there swinging for the fences, and I knew deep down that if I wanted to have a chance to win this national championship, just like the week before at Darnell, it was going to be doing something off the wall, doing something different. So I pick up a big bait, I pick up a glide, I pick up a swim bait, and I go down, and I had 2 bites that day. I think that would have really helped. Got two probably close to 4 pounds that would have put us up there in the top 3 for that tournament, which would have been truly amazing. And sadly, both of those didn't work out. But we ended up pulling up, found a scope bite midday, late day, scoping a minnow, and we ended up getting back up to around 9-10 pounds. I think we ended up finishing around 20-something, which out of a smaller field, it wasn't great, but I was super glad that Murray State took home the win in that JUCO National Championship. I knew a couple boys that were up there to win. I saw them fishing and on one of my better spots, and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna disadvantage them by me going over there and checking it. I want them to catch what they can off it, because I was really thinking deep down we might have been able to pull up to another spot and crack a 3 or 4 pounder. But it was truly great. I mean, first college fishing national championship I've got to be a part of, and I'm hungry. I want to win one day. And I think I'm at a great school right now, especially for the JUCO National Championship. That is a very possible move. And it's a possible move to win the ACA National Championship, too. It's just a matter of being in the right place at the right time. And I'm so grateful to be here at this college, be here with all my buddies, and be able to fish. That I'm looking forward to all the tournaments coming up. We leave next week to Florida for another college event. And then I think after that, is it Pickwick? I think Pickwick is the next one for ACA, or is it?
Our next one's the Hartwell Slam, and then the championship, the Collegiate Bass Fishing Championship presented by Bass Pro Shops, will be at Pickwick.
That's right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to both of those events. Those are 2 lakes I love fishing. Haven't had much, work on Hartwell in the past. I've been there a couple of times with my dad, but it's going to be a really fun tournament. I love spotted bass fisheries, and fisheries where largemouth will win a tournament if you can find them. So I'm looking forward to that tournament. I'm looking forward to Pickwick. Pickwick's where I fished my first high school national championship at. And just being able to fish all these fisheries that I got to fish with my dad and expand on them now. So I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to see what the future holds.
One more look back from this fall semester. Didn't count towards anything on the college circuit, but you had the opportunity to go represent Team USA and the youth anglers in South Africa. Give us a quick recap of what that was like, and I'm going to also tease to the next episode. We'll have anglers representing top 25 ranked Wabash Valley College. 2 lady anglers on that team. One of them went and helped to work for gathering content for social media, and the other one was competing, and I think caught a really good fish that we'll be sure to talk about when we have them on. So be on the lookout for that next episode of the Rapala We Are Collegiate Bass Podcast. But here, Jackson, just give a little highlight of what that opportunity and experience was like to make it out over there.
Yeah, that was one of the greatest experiences I've ever had in my life. This is my second time being able to represent Team USA over in Africa. Last year in Zimbabwe and this year in South Africa at Loskop Dam. And the fishery was amazing. We get there, first 30 minutes, I find some big ones on scope. And not every boat had scope, but every boat had some sonar that you could be able to target these fish down deep with. So I go from one spot, so find them scoping, go to the next spot to throw in a swim bait and catching a couple 5s. And I knew from right then this tournament was going to set up perfectly for me. And, being able to represent Team USA is already a major accomplishment that I've wanted to do for so long, and be able to lead them to a win was truly something amazing. Day 1 of the tournament was slow at first, or I shouldn't say slow at first, like third cast caught a 6-pounder, and then it got slow there for a few hours. And I'm like, okay, well now I need to learn, okay, I caught a 6-pounder in a brush pile, now I need to find more brush piles. And only having 1 day of practice on the lake doesn't give you much time to find multiple brush piles that set up the same way. So we end up going around midday. I find another stretch of brush, catch 2 more 5-pounders, and a 1 just under 7, and I'm looking at 24.5 pounds with a small limit fish in there. And we go in, and right off the bat, I think I had a 5-pound lead the first day over the rest of the group, and Team USA was winning by 8 pounds overall. The second day of the tournament comes around, truly amazing. The team The teams did incredible, more than anything anybody could have ever ask. And I end up sitting up there, and I get to my first spot again, catch a 5-pounder and a 4-pounder. And that was the day we got to fish with Team USA. And so my buddy Lawson Lewis, he's still a high school angler at the moment, but we had a blast. We ended up cracking some fish, having a blast. I ended up having 24.5 pounds that day too, I think. And then Team USA had one of the greatest leads that I think will ever be done, especially at an international event. And I'll let some of the girls that went over speak more about that. But it was truly amazing. Day three of the competition rolls around, and that was by far the hardest day. We're fishing about a 6,000-acre lake, so it's not big, but the lake had a lot of areas to fish on it, a lot of deep cuts, a lot of brush, a lot of rock piles. So I went up there and I made the farthest run, about a 5-minute run to the other side of the lake, and I sit up there. I catch 1 3-pounder right off the bat, and then it goes slow. And that was the day we got to fish with South Africa. So South Africa already had an advantage on us, knowing the lakes, knowing what the fish were going to bite before we got there. Just Team USA was able to execute it a little better because of our sonar skills and our skills fishing rock files and stuff. Because USA, we have the most variety of lakes anywhere in the world. You can go flip grass, you can go rock, crank, you can throw swim baits, you can do everything in the States. A lot of those boys did not have that opportunity overseas. But being able to pick apart that lake the final day, I ended up having 4 fish for 20 pounds and brought home the win overall, while Team USA brought home gold. So it was truly one of the best moments of my life, and so blessed I was able to be part of it.
That's awesome. Definitely a cool accomplishment and achievement that probably carry with you for a long time. One last question here that will ask you, and then we'll be done. We appreciate the time today. Going into the future, let's kind of address it in 2 parts. One, as it pertains to Murray State College, and let's say this season towards the Bass Pro Shop School of the Year presented by Abu Garcia, the team having one of their better seasons in program history, young history, as the team's been around for just a few years, currently ranked tied for 15th. Talk about what you would like to see the team accomplish by season's end here in this upcoming May, early June of 26, and then for yourself, through college, on past that, what do you want to achieve professionally, whether it's in the workforce or continuing to chase your dreams out on the water? So address those 2 things for Murray State College this season and what y'all want to accomplish and what you want to accomplish for yourself on into the future.
Yeah, so first things first, Murray State fishing, this has been one of the best years they've ever had, 15th place, and it's been truly amazing to be part of that. You know, I helped a little bit. You know, I haven't pulled all my weight so far, so I'm looking forward to the second half of the season. But, I mean, as a team, we've done amazing. We've had 2 kids in the top 40, I believe, at Kentucky Lake. And then we had a kid in the top 30 or maybe top 35 at Lake Darnell. And then we won the JUCO National Championship, won a couple of smaller tournaments, 3 smaller tournaments that gained points. So right now we're looking strong as a team, and I think moving forward, our team is going to get a lot more heavy hitters in the future. And right now, if we can just keep our heads up high, if we can just fight through this season, I don't think it's out of the range to maybe looking at that 10th place spot in AOY, you know, or maybe even moving up into the top 10. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm excited with the schedule and how it lines out. I'm excited that I'm with these kids that just have been to a couple of these lakes before. I think that's kind of an advantage that Murray State has, is we have quite a few traveling kids from out of the state on our team, a smaller JUCO. So being able to have that, I guess, advantage of different knowledges, being able to spread across the team, we're looking really solid. We're looking forward to it. I think next year is going to be an amazing year. I'm pretty sure if we keep our heads up high with the team we're going to have, I think a top 10 is nowhere out of the question. I think that should be pretty accomplishable. And I think if we can just maybe have one of those amazing tournaments, have 2 kids in the top 10 or 2 teams in the top 10, you know, it's gonna separate us from a lot of those other schools that are going to be around the same pack that we are right now, that 15th to 20th place. And then moving on from college, I want to continue my dream of becoming a professional fisherman. I grew up with it with my dad, and I've seen the ins and outs of the sport, and it's really looking promising right now. I mean, this is the best the sport's ever looked for newcomers coming in, young college anglers, high school anglers, you know, even junior anglers coming in to come fish. I'm so excited to see how this sport moves going on. You know, if my dream maybe doesn't come successful right off the bat, becoming a professional angler, I want to work somewhere in the field of tournament, angling. Like if maybe I might be representing, a tournament league, or moving down the road and working with some big companies designing baits. I want to do something along those lines because I want to stay with this fishing family that I've been a part of for so long. And I'm looking forward, and college it's one of my many steps of getting there, and I'm so excited to continue on throughout my career.
Jackson, we appreciate the time here today, being able to talk to us, getting to learn more about your story, what you've learned and achieved so far in college fishing, and what you hope to achieve on down the road as well professionally. Thanks again for the time, and we look forward to seeing you out on the trail here in a couple months.
Man, well, thank you so much. I can't wait to see y'all there.
Welcome to Minnow King. How can I help you?
Everything looks good. I'm friggin' starving, man. Been spawning all morning.
Ugh, TMI, bro. What do you want?
I'll take a Crush City freeloader and gizzard shad.
Anything to drink.
Water.
Pull ahead, please. Welcome to Minnow King.
We're gonna have what he's had.
Yeah, throw me in a Ned BLT, too.
Pull ahead, please.
Calm down. Quit feeding him so much.
Hey, man, I'm trying to, man. If you
If you overfeed him, he's going to hide under a log.